On the lowest of keys, urgent care. Urgent care could be a vibe. It just depends where you're at. That's the problem. Welcome in, everybody, to the Rob Gucci Show. I'm your host, Rob Gucci. In case you're new here, I've been doing this show audio only for over a year now, and we're back on video. And I'm back. I just recovered from a horrendous flu. It was truly a nightmare. It felt Asian. I'm not sure if it was the Asian flu, but it felt a little bit Asian. I felt different. It was one of the worst ones I've ever had. And as a guy, like, I'm not afraid to admit that I had the flu. I was sick. I know guys don't like to admit that. I know guys like that. I never get sick. Yeah, you do. You do. You do get sick. If you don't get sick, why are you coughing 4 days in a row when we're in Nashville if you're not sick? It was really bad. The last thing I want to do here is get on here and complain about my flu. But Fauci and the Chinese people, they got my ass. And I was like, just battling, dude. And I was thinking, like, should I have gotten triple boosted? Should I not have talked about the libs as much on Twitter? What is this? It was the worst I've ever been sick in my life. I think I actually, right before that China pandemic hit us, I got very sick, hospitalized. Same thing I had this weekend, but this weekend was worse. I didn't go to the hospital because I think I'm mentally tougher than I was 5 years ago. I was just like, I'm not going in there. Like, I'm not. I thought about it. I thought about going, but it's just the concept of going in there and just being like, I'm sick. Like, I'd almost rather just die peacefully in my bed that had ramen noodle stains all over it, because the night before I got sick, I was eating ramen in my bed. I had a little tingle in my throat, which will happen after you fly American Airlines. Just a nasty organization, American Airlines. No disrespect to anybody over at American Airlines. Just a nasty organization, disgusting airline. And if you go on American Airlines, the thing I like about Delta, see, this is why I got, if I fly Delta, I never get sick. It never happens. It wouldn't have happened to me. But unfortunately, I had to fly American. And this is absolutely no disrespect to the good people over at American Airlines. I know somebody that works in American Airlines. She's a very nice lady, a very generous woman. It's just a nasty, embarrassing airlines these days. And it's disgusting. And the thing about Delta is that they'll send in a team of like Himalayan people. It's always like a certain dialect of people. I don't know if they're Asian, but they send in like these teams of like they're smaller people in stature. And before, it's almost as people are disembarking the aircraft, and at the same time, people are as people are getting off, they send these little people. They're not midgets, but they're like these little Himalayan people, and they have wet wipes on them, and they wipe down the chairs, and they weave in and out, and they weave in and out, and they wipe it down, and they get back in the aisle, and they let people get off the plane. Then Delta wipes their shit down. American Airlines, which is a nasty, disgusting airlines, and I mean that with all due respect. I still have to fly American. I have a travel credit with American, so I will be back on American. It's just you have to be prepared to become violently ill. And I knew it sitting on the plane, because I got on the plane and I looked to my left, and on the armrest, there's like this goo, like this, it was like tartar sauce. It was like splattered. It was old. It was like hardened over goo. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked to my right, and there was an outlet, and it looked like a baby threw up. And then, like, right after that, a guy behind me just let out like the most large whooping cough. And I said, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to be out for the count. I'm going to text Swish right now. I'll say, we're going to be delayed on next week's episode because I'm about to become violently sick. And that's exactly what happened. And it was a weird journey, because when I get sick, I try not to pout. It's like, okay, I'm going to relax. I'm going to take advantage of being able to lay in my bed and order goldfish on DoorDash for $17 and just be a shithead and stain stain my duvet cover and get ramen everywhere and like enjoy it. But this one was so bad that I just couldn't. Like I remember last time uh, this happened to me, I couldn't even pick up the phone. I wanted to watch the US Open. I wanted to watch football. I was awake during the first set of the US Open. I fell asleep during the second. I threw up during the third set. I'm not lying. Fourth set, I was kind of like half in and out. I was like in a Chinese dimension that I can't even put into words. Just sweating, throwing up. It was horrible. But I tried to take advantage of it because I don't really consider myself like a lazy person. So I was like, you know what? I get to lay down in bed, and like people would kill to lay down in bed. Like people all over the world, like in these horrible countries like Finland and all these just war torn Slovenia and Serbia and Syria and Iraq. They would kill to just be able to lay down in like a nice bed. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna ride the wave. So I tried to do that as much as possible. Um I tried to keep like a positive spin on things, but it was just the one thing I was looking forward to is losing weight. Maybe I'll fit in my t-shirts better and I'll feel good about my body for a couple of days, but it was just horrendous. And the one thing I did get to do that I was happy about is after getting this nasty American Airlines flu. And by the way, if you're new here, this is only on audio. It's back on video, so it's going to be on video on YouTube when on Rob Gucci Show. Shout out to my Patreon members. Shout out to all 6 people in here. Patreon.com/Rob Gucci Show. Every week I do a new episode dictated by the fans. You guys tell me exactly what to talk about, and I talk about it. I have to talk about whatever you want me to talk about. But the one thing I did get to do is I got to watch the documentary about the Dallas Cowboys. And the craziest part about that documentary is not just that I was crying during some of it. Was, I forget what time I was. What the fuck? When was I crying during it? I think it was when Michael Irvin got caught with crack. Because in Texas, especially if you're black, you get caught with crack. It's like 20 years in jail. It's like, if you're smoking crack in Texas back in the day and you know that that's the penalty, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It's the same charge as killing somebody. So I don't. That documentary is just crazy to me because I respect the work that Jerry Jones put in, but there was a couple parts in the documentary that they just kind of like cruised on by that I thought were way like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what did, like when Jerry Jones was caught outside of a school in Arkansas, they were protesting the black guys joining the school, like they were anti segregation. And Jerry Jones is clearly there. And I'm not trying to apply today's morals to back in the day, because back in the day, you're kind of like, yeah, like these black kids should not be in our schools. Even though I wouldn't have done that, there's just no chance I would have done that. I would have been like, that's like, we're all people here. But not to make myself seem like such a great guy, but Jerry Jones was in the picture. And then in the documentary, Jerry's like, yeah, I didn't know what that was about. I was just curious. And then they just moved on to like Troy Aikman went 8 for 24 in a game for 300 passing yards. I was like, back the fuck up. Like they just let Jerry Jones get away with being like, I don't know what was going on. Like, yeah, you did. There was nothing else going on in Arkansas that day. There wasn't anything else going on social media. There wasn't trending topics. The only thing going on that day was the black kids trying to get into the all-white school, and everyone was there protesting it. And Jerry Jones was in the picture, and he was just like, yeah, I just heard the ruckus. Everyone knew what that ruckus was about, Jerry. That's neither here nor there. And I guess. And then the other thing about the documentary is like how Skip Bayless was reporting on the Cowboys. And he was the guy that was like in the locker room, like looking at their penises, sneaking out by their houses. And his job, obviously, as a journalist, it's like a glorified stalker. It's like illegal stalking. Sorry, I'm not 100% from this flu I have right now, but I'm battling anyway. So the one thing about Skip Bayless is like the one thing that always gets me in sports documentaries is that there's always a period where they're just like the players, they're partying, there's women, there's slutty women around, they're doing drugs. It's like, yeah, that's what dudes do. Like, just because Skip Bayless, just because you can't get pussy or like whatever you are, you're a Christian, you're waiting for marriage, like whatever. You don't see sports guys you don't see athletes standing in their stalls being like, I can't believe these journalists aren't getting any pussy. Like, I don't understand why that aspect of athletes, their life gets put under a microscope. Like this Dallas Cowboys team was like an incredible team. They were 1-15, then they turn the corner. They get all these good guys. Like, yes, are some of them murdering people, stabbing people with scissors, smoking crack, going to strip clubs? Like, yes, but it was a great try. It was a great sports moment how this team like battled adversity, and like everyone in Texas was like, fuck Jerry Jones, fuck the Cowboys, this team sucks. And he took all those bullets and then just continued to what he thought was right, and they ended up being a really good football team. But then there's like a dark moment, there's like a dip in the documentary where it's like, okay, like the Cowboys are 14-1, they clinched the playoff berth, but also Michael Irvin and some other guy were double teaming a hooker and doing crack at the Red Roof Inn. And it's like, so what? As long as it's consensual, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, why is it so? What do you expect these guys to do? And all these reporters that are like reporting, this is so bad. I can't believe these star athletes with millions of dollars are hooking up with women. They would do the same thing. That's like the classic story of guys that like hate billionaires because they think for some reason like they're the reason why global warming is, even though it's not. It's people in China are overfishing and ruining the Great Barrier Reef. I'll save that for next episode. But it's like, I don't understand why that's like so looked down upon as long as it's consensual. They're like, yeah, they had a house. They called it the White House and all the players shared this house. Yeah, that's that's awesome. I don't really understand what's the problem with that. But I just think that the Cowboys, it was just such a mess. Like, there's so many things, and like he hires his boy from Arkansas, they win, and then they don't like each other because it's like who's taking credit for the championship. It's a lot of ego. Everything comes down to ego. It's just like I went on a tangent about how real estate guys, no disrespect, they're just all worthless scumbags. And that's no disrespect to real estate people. I have one guy in my Patreon that's like, hey, Rob, I'm getting my master's in real estate. And even though that's a massive waste of time and waste of money, no disrespect, I think that's good that you're like, you're going after a goal. No matter what it is. Noah, it says, anything goes at the Red Roof Inn. Yeah, I don't remember where they were. It was like the Marriott, and it was like that classic thing where like state troopers broke down the door and like they pinned these guys with like outrageous amounts of time. The one thing that was funny is Michael Irvin got caught with crack and he was facing 20 years. But then at Dallas Cowboys practice, he got pissed at a teammate and stabbed him in the neck. And everyone was like, yeah, that's Mike. Which is crazy. But sometimes we all stab people with scissors in the neck. So people get mad. Like athletes get mad. Like that. It's like these guys let a guy stab. Yeah, with scissors. Did you guys see the documentary? He stabbed him with scissors, like in his neck. And even Michael Irvin, I guess it's past the statutes of limitations because that guy's been on probation. Yeah, all over. They were fighting over who gets their hair cut first at Dallas Cowboys camp, which is pretty cool. I didn't know NFL guys can get their hair cut at training camp. And they were like arguing over who's going to go first. And Michael Irvin's like, fuck you, and stabbed the guy in the neck. Like just wild stuff. But the other guy didn't snitch on him. So it's cool that Michael can come out and just be like, yeah, that's what happened and not get in trouble for it. Because it's past the statute of limitations. That's why I'm open about talking about the kids I was scamming on RuneScape. Because I don't think I can get in trouble for that anymore. Even though it was kind of a mutual thing. Like I was getting scammed. They were getting scammed. Um, but yeah, that documentary was wild to me, dude. It was wild to me that the doubt, like, just how much shit goes on behind the scenes, all the ego and like guys holding out for money, and the media is just against you. And it's like you gotta respect, even though Jerry Jones absolutely hated black people for most of his life, like he turned a corner, I feel like, where he was like, "Hey, if these guys, if Emmett Smith is gonna rush for 100+ yards a game, like I can get down with these guys. Like I don't think they're that bad." Uh, I think like he had like a businessman's mentality, like a Dana White, where he's like, "Fuck everybody, we're gonna win." And it's almost like you forget or you don't know. Like that I didn't know that Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. First of all, anything about a guy named Jimmy Johnson, I just have no idea about him. Besides that he's from Arkansas. But I didn't know that those guys were just such legendary figures down there. Like I didn't know how much football meant to Texas until you kind of watch. It's kind of crazy because when you see these guys on TV like Michael Irvin or like Rex Ryan, and you kind of lose, like they don't have aura anymore. But back in the day, like Deion Sanders, you see Deion Sanders on TV and you're just like, this guy's a little bit cocky, like whatever, like who is this guy? And like there was no Instagram and shit. So you're like, whoa, this guy was a fucking rock star, dude. It's like it's why you got to put respect on your elders, most of them, some of them, because people forget, especially these days, how quickly people forget, like how legendary these guys were, like at football. And with football, these guys are playing with broken bones, like they didn't give a fuck. And granted, the game is a lot slower now. And back then, there was no such thing as mental health. Like you were either just crazy or not crazy. And it was all about mental health was just not a real thing back in the day to people. It's like you were just like, I forget, there was a guy that he got hurt in practice and the coach just cut him. He's like, "You're a pussy. Like you're out." And that's how things were back in the day. Like if I called out of my pocket, I didn't call out, but we couldn't do HB3 yesterday because I had a fucking fever 3 days in a row. But I probably would have been cut from the podcast. And it is hard to do a podcast with a fever. Like I honestly, this is a horrendous episode, but I just had to get on here and speak my part and do the Rob Gucci show like we usually do. Um, but yeah, dude, I couldn't believe the amount of chaos that was going on in the Dallas Cowboys franchise. Like Michael Irvin also had a guy tried to murder him during this whole thing because he was sleeping with this hooker, and the hooker had a husband that found out. It's like, first of all, dude, if your wife is a hooker, you have to be down to sit in that cuck chair. You have to be down to, what she does for work. Like it shouldn't be a surprise. Or she's not a hooker, she was a stripper. But it's like, that other guys are kind of like on that. Like there's going to be guys that have a bigger wallet than you that are going to money talks. They're going to say like, "Hey, do you want to come to the Red Roof Inn and do crack with me?" And she might say yes. Like you have to take that up with your girl. I don't think that's Michael Irvin's fault. That get that chat buzzing, all 6 people in here. Let's go. Get that mother effing chat buzzing. But yeah, that's something that I feel like you gotta like take up with your girl if you're because the guy that putting a hit out on somebody is kind of cool. I think you should just do the job yourself. I feel like if you really want to murder somebody that bad, but I think that he had no business being mad at Michael Irvin. Like if I had a wife and I found her with the Dallas Cowboys in a hotel room at the Red Roof Inn doing crack, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I definitely wouldn't take it to the point where like I'm gonna murder these guys, especially not if they're on the Cowboys. It's just too high profile of a murder to pull off. I feel like they're really gonna try to find the guy that did it. Meanwhile, if your wife was having an affair with like a UPS driver, like you could probably kill him, and they're gonna close that. They'll look for you, but they're gonna close that investigation within like 2 weeks, no matter what. If you have a guy like Michael Irvin that's getting targeted 15 times a game and he's catching 13 of those balls, like, and you kill him, you're gonna you better not have geotags or air tags anywhere near you. You better be on a flip phone in the Barbados because you're gonna get caught, because that's how it works. And people are always like talking about uh like when Michael Irvin got off, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's what money can buy." It's like, yeah, that is what money can buy. Like, he was facing 20 years in prison if convicted for a crack felony, and people are like, "Yeah, well, if it wasn't Michael Irvin, he would be in prison." Yeah, Michael Irvin also runs a 4.140. He fucking deserves to smoke a little crack sometimes. Rob, you said that Novak would win the US Open. Now I've lost my house. Well, don't. The thing about gambling is that you're never going to win. Even when on HB3, we have an ad read for my bookie, and I'll say it right on the ad. And I don't know if they're going to like it, but when I read the ads, I go, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. There's a reason why all the promotions that they're like, yeah, bet $5 and get 500 back. Terms and conditions apply. Like, there's a reason for that. But yeah, it sucks that Novak didn't get the job done. I mean, he can't get past Carlitos and Sinner. They're just two robots. Like, they're almost autistic. Like, they're kind of like McDavid territory for me, where they're just so good at their sport that they have to be a little bit off. And I mean that in the most positive way. I love the both of them. I really do. I can't pick between. I think there's really cool things about both of them. Thoughts on Greta Thunberg? I didn't even remember who that was. That was that propaganda chick. She was saying that like Kylie Jenner was ruining the environment or something like that. I don't remember what she was doing. Greta Thunberg. She was like that 14-year-old girl, right? And she was saying that something about Taylor Swift. She was using private jets too much or something like that. I don't know about global warming. Like, I think my take on it is sometimes it's going to get warm, sometimes it's going to get hot. I think it's like, I don't know if it's because of, I think we're probably doing something, but I can't like pinpoint it on Kylie Jenner. I don't think. I think that would be unfair to do. A lot of people talking about Greta Thunberg. I don't know. Did she do something that I should be aware of right now? I don't know why that's such a hot topic right now. Last time we were doing a whole thing on Indian people. I don't know if you guys liked that episode. That last episode, we were buried deep in the Mesopotamians or something like that. What's the obsession with Greta Thunberg right now with you guys? Hold on, let me share. What's the last thing? Let me just share this. What is the latest on Greta Thunberg? I don't really like talking about Greta Thunberg because she's like 16. I don't really have an opinion on this girl. Like, do what you want to do. Protest where you want to protest, whatever. She's the sweetest climate political activist. She's been in the news for her Gaza bound. She's talking about Gaza now. Oh, she's getting into the war scene now. She's talking about how the suspected drone attack in Tunisia. So she moved from war. Okay, so Greta Thunberg has moved from the climate to war now. Wait, hold on. Thunberg was deported from Israel after the Israeli Navy intercepted a previous Gaza-bound aid boat. What is even happening? She accused Israel of illegally detaining her. She got detained by Israel? Dude, like, I see, like, it's crazy the battle some people want to fight. It's crazy that I'm just in my bed with a fever all weekend. Like, please just let this end. And Greta Thunberg is in Israel getting deported. Like it is just a wild world we live. Speaking of the Cowboys documentary, also I almost turned it off. It was a good documentary, I think. I almost turned it off though when the first person on the documentary was George Bush, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be one of those. Like you're gonna put George Bush, who's like, did George Bush? I don't want to get political, but George Bush was like, you know what, you know, they attacked 9/11. We're gonna go into Syria and 17 other different countries and steal all their oil. Like George Bush was like, uh they hate our freedom. We're gonna go steal a ton of resources from Syria and other countries that have nothing to do with this. But anyway, when they put George Bush on the documentary, I was like, oh my propaganda. Like this is gonna be one of those. But really, I feel like they told, I don't know, but I feel like they told a really well-rounded story about the Cowboys. I could be completely wrong on that. I don't know. But yeah, what's going on with this Thunberg chick? She's in the wars now. I just think that that's too big of a bite. It's too big of a bite to swallow getting involved with Israel and stuff. I personally just wouldn't do it. I don't think. Like, not that I don't think, I think there's a lot of stuff that's bad going on, but I just don't think I could. I don't see myself kind of like going over to Israel and being like, hey, you guys got to stop drone striking people like that. I don't agree with stuff that's going on, but I also don't know anything. That's my problem. So I feel like I should just hang out here and try to figure out how to like pay down my credit cards and like maybe have a family one day. I don't know if I can like, I think it would be too big of a bite. It would be too big of a task for me to go over there and try to figure out what's going on in Gaza, but it looks like that's what she's doing. Uh, Thunberg activism has also included recent climate protests, such as blocking entrances to the Swedish parliament. We'll just get her out of the way. Her work continues to focus on climate justice. My question is, what is how can we solve this? How do we stop how do we stop the temperature from going up? That's my thing. Like, do we scale back on cars? Can't see through these glasses. Shift from fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas to solar, wind, and hydro. I just don't think wind is going to cut it. I don't think I could just drive around with wind. Upgrading infrastructure, buildings, and appliances, and vehicles to use less energy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to solve that. I think it's kind of like we're just in a situation where it's like we're going to definitely fuck shit up and we just have to kind of tell our grandkids, just give them a warning like, look, things are going to get really bad. I don't know if it's going to be in your lifetime, but that's kind of the way it is. Like if you look at us, we're like the median house price is like 600,000. No one warned us about that. So we would be doing the right thing to at least warning our grandkids like, hey, look, like it's going to be 140 degrees a lot of the times in the summer. The energy grid is going to go down. Everyone's going to be non-binary and there's going to be a lot of drones just killing people and there's really nothing that we could do about it. Just giving you a heads up. I think that's the best course of action for this. And I'm not saying wave the white flag against like energy, but it's like, what are we really going to do? Like there's so many cars. Go to LA. There's so many. Tell people to stop driving. There's so many laptops and AirPods out there. I saw AirPods are gonna have a new AirPod where you can put the AirPods in, hear somebody in a different language, and it'll just go into English. So you don't even need to learn a new language anymore. I'm moving straight to Miami after that. That's a pretty incredible thing. And then the whole world might be able to speak one language, basically. Everyone's walking around with AirPods. So you could tell me I can go to Moscow and just listen to Russia. If I'm hearing this right, let me just Google. We'll grok this. Do you need to learn new languages with the new AirPods? Apple plans to introduce a live translation feature for AirPods, allowing real-time translation of in-person conversations. That is out of control. This means you may not need to learn new languages for basic communication, as your AirPods can translate spoken words. That is fucking insane. Imagine somebody spent all that time on Duolingo and you could just get AirPods. Like, for example, if someone speaks Spanish, your iPhone will detect and translate it into English, playing the audio through your AirPods. Dude, that is out of control. Your response in English can then be translated and played aloud for the other person. So I can go to Cambodia right now and just settle down in Cambodia and have a fully Cambodian family with no experience. This is going to open up so many more options for me, I feel like sexually. Raising a family. The feature expected to launch later in 2025. English, French, German, Portuguese, and Spanish. Oh my God. Chinese. This is incredible, dude. I don't know. This is kind of like one of those ones that I think is really cool, but it's also really scary. So I could just go to China by myself with no problem. As long as my AirPods are charged up, as long as they don't die. I could just go in there with AirPods on, everyone's speaking Chinese to me, and I'll be able to hear it in English and know exactly what they're talking about. With this feature, while this feature can reduce the need to learn new languages for travel or casual conversations, learning a new language remains valuable. Yeah, well, no shit. For deeper cultural understanding. That is really actually like crazy. That's like one of the coolest things I've ever heard, I think. That is fucking wild, dude. Like I can't even think of all the places I would want to go. Where's the coolest place you can go? Like you could just learn you could just go, you could pretty much go any a lot of the times language barriers stop a lot of things. You could just go anywhere and hear exactly what they're talking about. That is fucking unreal. The one thing I don't understand is how your response in English can then be translated and played aloud for the other person. I'm gonna have a field day with this. I gotta get these new AirPods. That's the one thing I usually don't like to get new stuff because even though Steve Jobs is dead, it's kind of like the same shit every year. But this one is kind of like groundbreaking. This is kind of like how accurate will it be? How accurate? I don't even wanna. I don't know. That's a really cool thing. Uh, this episode is brought to you by Home by 3. We have some tour dates to announce, even though our November dates are going to get pushed back to December 3rd and 4th because Tim Dillon has to do some dates there, which I think is really cool, actually, getting bumped out of the way for Tim Dillon. I have a very reasonable offer for him. All I want is $200,000 out of his $375,000 paycheck for his show in Riyadh. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I apologize to Saudi Arabia. Um, I think that's a really reasonable ask. And honestly, it was an honor to bump the show back for him. I think that's cool. I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, we're doing a show in the same place. Tim Dillon's doing a show. Fuck yeah. So that was cool. We just have to re-announce that show. It's going to be in Chicago on December 3rd, Milwaukee on December 4th, Pittsburgh on December 10th, Buffalo somewhere in between that. And then Canada, I think, is going to be actually, I know is going to be on the other side of the calendar. And that's going to be cool too. Home by 3 is going to be on the road big time. We're going to do some, what are we going to do? We're going to do some Winnipeg, Calgary, hopefully, Winnipeg. We got to get to Minneapolis, Detroit. Oh, fuck. I just got so dizzy. Minneapolis and Detroit. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time, dude. It's gonna be really fun. Chat, if you guys want to chime in, I'm gonna wrap this thing up since this episode sucks because I got the American Airlines flu. It really just fucked me over. The American Airlines flu. It's just a nasty organization, disgusting business. No disrespect to American Airlines, so I don't want to kind of talk shit about American Airlines. But we're gonna open up the floor to the chat for one question, if anyone's in here. That's the bad thing about doing this on video. I got to stop talking about it because people are gonna think I'm gonna care. But I'm never gonna stop doing this show unless I quit. But until then, I'm never gonna stop doing this show. I'm just glad that it's back on video now on YouTube instead of just the audio listeners. Can we talk about how good the music was in the Cowboys documentary? Yeah, it was good. It was definitely good. They did a great job at that doc. And I don't usually watch documentaries unless I'm extremely sick. Like I was, man, I was in a crazy thing, dude. Deciding on whether to go to the hospital tonight or not was like, it's so annoying. Because urgent care is weird because it all depends. The vibe in an urgent care is all depends on who in there, how are they handling adversity. Like the last time I was in urgent care, this lady comes in and she's just a mess. She's like flailing her hands everywhere, screaming. And I'm like, this bitch. And I forget what I was going through. I was sick, obviously. It's years ago. And I was like, this overreacting bitch. Like she's going to get in first because she's putting on this big act. And she fucking just hits the deck out of nowhere, like hard. Like she falls down. And I was like, they made me raise my eyebrows. I was like, oh, fuck. She might not be faking it. And all of a sudden, like, they started yelling code blue. I think she died, actually. They were yelling like code blue, code blue. And then they wheeled her in. And I was pissed. I mean, I've been in here for 3.5 hours and she gets in first because of a cold blue. Like, what is that? What is a code blue? We'll pull this up. Jamie, pull this up. But yeah, I think she died. And I was pissed off about that. Not that she died, like she was actually being for real. So I respect that. A code blue in an emergency room is a medical emergency alert typically announced over a hospital's intercom system. It was very loud, indicating that a patient is expecting a life-threatening situation. Yup, that's what this was. It signals a cardiac arrest, aka a jammer, a respiratory arrest. Yeah, she was flailing her arms around, rolling around on the floor. Like it was a lot of theatrics, which is why I was kind of sitting there like I didn't want to like stare at this lady. That might have been the only time I seen someone die. Well, I didn't see her croak, but I saw like I don't know if she died. When a code blue was called, a specialized team, including doctors, nurses, and anesthesiologists and other critical, rushes to the patient's location. Yeah, they all bursted down the doors. They bursted them things down. They really did. They wheeled her ass in. The thing that got me, if I was dying like that, I just don't see. Like yesterday in my bed, I was actually moaning out loud a little bit. Like I was like, ah, like I was hurting so bad. I was like considering. I thought, like, how much worse does this have to get for me to actually die? I was in that much pain. I'm like, how close am I to dying? Like when people are dying, like, do they feel pain like that? Like I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I was like, am I about to go out? They're gonna find me with ramen stains all over my sheets and shit. I thought I was pretty close to going out. Code blue though, yeah, that's no joke. A code white. What is a cold white? Some hospitals use variations like code blue for adults and cold white for people that eat too much Cracker Barrel. For pediatric emergencies. What's a pediatric emergency? What's the difference between that? It's like a non-jammer. Oh, it's a kid. A medical crisis involving a child. Yeah, I guess the doctors, they really have to make a split decision on who's faking it or not. Because I thought I damn near was sure that this woman was putting on an act. Because if you're dying, like I just don't like I said, I don't see myself like flailing around and like yelling and like flopping around the floor and like getting my pants all dirty and stuff like that and all those germs. I feel like if I was dying, I'd be like, yo, dude, like straight up, make eye contact with the reception desk. I'm dying. Like that's what I would say. There's my life is in danger. But I guess they would be like, yeah, whatever. And then that's how those videos come out where people are, shuddering in the waiting room because the reception desk, that's another scary thing. The girl at the reception desk who's been working for like 12 hours, overworked, underpaid. It's weird. It's like her discretion on whether like who's faking it or not. It's a tough job. Because if I walk in there looking like this and I have a 107-degree fever for the third day in a row, and I just be like, look, there's a good chance that I'm gonna pass away. I feel like they'd be like, yeah, like the wait's 3 hours, like fill out this form, take a seat. But I don't think I have it in me to do the whole act. It'd just be embarrassing. Like even if my life depended on it, I'm not rolling around on the floor in there. I'm just not doing it. Look, I'm just not rolling around. Like she did what she had to do though, and it ended up being a real code blue. I wonder if she died or not. And I was at a pretty bad hospital too, so I feel like the chances are slim that she made it. Like the hospital I was at, like I saw the doctor's parking lot. It's like everyone was in like Ultimas and stuff. Like, I don't want that. If I have a doctor, you better have a BMW. Like he doesn't need an M4 series, but like something nice. He needs like I'm not asking at least a C-class Mercedes. I'd like for my doctor to have. If my doctor has anything less than that, then I'm kind of asking questions about what's going on here. Because even though you're in debt, you have, like as a doctor, you have to present yourself in a way that brings you business. My father-in-law works the EKG at an ER, and he always has insane stories. Can you get him on the pod? I want to ask him. I had an EKG before. Thinking about getting one this weekend with the way my shit was going. I had this weird fucking thing going. I think I'm not all the way out of the woods yet, which is why this episode's so bad. But I would love to get a doctor on here and talk to him about the ER. I know there's HIPAA and all those violations and stuff, but I don't need exact stories with like, their date of birth or anything, what they did, but in general, just crazy shit that they see. Like I see crazy shit in an ER, dude. There'll be dudes in the ER with a fucking grill master in there cooking hot dogs. People hooking up in the ER. Like the ER goes crazy sometimes. He was also a Balkan War vet, so I'm sure you'd have a ball in him. Ask him if he wants to come on. What the fuck was the Balkan War? There's too many wars. I can't keep up. There's way too many wars going on. The Balkan War. He was in the Balkan War in 1912? There's no way. I mean, that's like, how old is this? How old is this guy? The Balkan Wars were two conflicts in 1912 and 1913 that reshaped southeastern Europe. The Ottoman Empire, which is kind of lit for a long time. It's wild, too, that Jerry Jones and his boy Jimmy Johnson are just like 82 years old and they had a 30-year-long beef. It just goes to show like life's too short. Over nothing but ego. Oh, the Balkan War in the 90s. There's a different Balkan War? What was the Balkan War of the 90s? The Balkans, they stay in the war. They stay in the war. The Yugoslavian War. There's always war. Stop showing me Greta Thunberg. I don't care about her. The Yugoslavian wars were a series of overlapping conflicts in Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia. Croatia was in the war with an island like that, the beautiful water. Ethnic tensions, okay, racism, economic decline, nationalist leaders. 140,000 people died. Displaced over 4 million people. 4 million people had to move, I guess. What's worse, 4 million people needing to find new houses or 140 people dying? 140,000. Involved atrocities like ethnic cleansing and genocide. Like, what is wrong with people, dude? Like, I understand that George Bush and Nancy Pelosi, they want to go over there and bomb countries for resources. Like they're attacking our freedom. It's like, first of all, no one's even after our freedom. You guys just want gold and diamonds from these caves that are in Syria. Just say it how it is. But the one thing I don't understand about war is like the ethnic cleansing. It's like, buddy, so whack. You want ethnic cleansing? Why don't you just buy an apartment, rent an apartment in Scottsdale? It's all white people. It's kind of brutal. Most vanilla ass shit ever. It's just a bunch of people on the HOA board just bitching about fucking nothing. Where should we put the dog park in the community? I don't want the dog park there in the community. Well, we can't. We need a dog park because people's dogs are shitting on the sidewalk. So we need a designated dog park. Yeah, but we don't want to knock down. Like, you want ethnic cleansing? Just move to Scottsdale. You don't have to have a war about it. That's why I like Miami so much. You walk down the street, you hear fucking Russian. You hear Spanish. It's a beautiful thing. It's sick. You eat croissants. You eat papayas, goddamn croissants and papayas and bacon, egg, and cheeses. It's like different. I don't like. I'll never understand these people that go to war and they're just like, yeah, well, fucking, like you get sunburn less than me. Like, why do they ethnic cleanse? Cleanse, fuck. It's because of religion. Yeah, I don't even want to read about all this. This is just, yeah, bruh. Yeah, bro, my entire family displaced across Europe and the States. It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy just having to move because of war. Like, we have it so bad over here. Like, we have to, our landlord kind of like, or if a landlord raises your lease, you're kind of rattled about it. But over there, it's like you dead ass have to leave or you're gonna get hit with a bomb. Makes you realize how good you have it. All right, I'm gonna get off this, guys. This was the Rob Gucci show. I'll be back later this week when I'm not sick. HB3. We're gonna do an episode tomorrow and Thursday. We got a guest coming on Thursday. New Behind the Chin is out now from Sunday. And we got merch home by 3.shop. And it's not gonna take as long as the summer fiasco was. We promised you guys. Right now we're catching up on all of that. So, yep, show dates. Those will be out soon on my Instagram, Robbie W. Gucci on Instagram. Thank you guys for tuning along. If you're on audio, which thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of you are, can you watch on YouTube? Because it's like only 100 people watch on YouTube since I just got there, but that would be dope. But if you don't want to see my face, I get it. All right, guys, I'm out. Love you. See you next time. Rob Gucci Show, HB3. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate everyone listening. Adios and goodbye.